I welcome y'all from Pompano Beach, Florida. We can talk privately. We'll continue to talk. I don't buy into people don't want to come down here. And I don't buy into what this word say about she don't want them to come. I do want them to come. I don't just want pastors. I want the whole churches to come. And I want to discuss business. And I want this council to make the rules where we can have an even discussion. We get paid well, and I don't care if we have to meet on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Let's take our time, get rid of these bogus rules, and get the work done.
Anyone else would like to comment during council response? Okay, so seeing none, I will go ahead and be the last one to speak. Definitely thank everyone for taking their time out to express their concern. I wanted to address a few things. One thing that I don't do and I won't use my elected seat for slander and misinformation. And unfortunately, we had a colleague state on the record that they don't like me. And then, that's doubled down on her show. Her whole podcast she used to talk about me. Not the benefit of the Lord, not to, please hold that. Thank you. Ma'am, that's your first warning.
I don't care about no warning.
That's fine. So that's your first.
I ain't got no first.
Okay. Mr. Metcalf, could you please escort the audience member out?
He ain't gonna say something.
Let us all go.
Yeah. That's all I can
So, as we move forward, this is what I'm saying. Council members and audience members alike, you are encouraged to stay as long as we operate with the decorum.
You don't know what.
Excuse me, Mr. Woodson, that is. As we were saying, it is difficult to speak. The public has their time at the lectern. Now it's council response time. When you speak out loud and it disrupts the meeting, that is out of order. So, moving on to following the rules that this body have elected. We can't use our seat for slander and misinformation. Unfortunately, when I left the meeting last week, well, but the last meeting that we had, unfortunately, colleagues were stating speculation. What is the request?
Did you pull up me and Jerry Winfrey Carter didn't pay for shirts? On Facebook?
That was a proper request for information, because this girl likes to say she needs a warning.
Let's not use request for information illegally. Okay, this is what we talk about. Again, this is being demonstrated when I'm beginning to speak. What is your point of order?
I call point of order. You shouldn't just say nothing like that. You should just say, what's your point of order? My point of order was, this is response to public comment. You opened the door talking about other stuff that really wasn't public comment. So if you can stay like what Pastor Harris said, let's get through this.
So as I continue to speak, I was just addressing what was said by colleagues and audience members. But when I have the floor, I continue to get bombarded with requests for information, points of order, which delayed the meeting to make me look like an incompetent chair. Continue to speak. We're not here to use our elected seats for slander and misinformation. Colleagues said that Liddell Lewis interacted with Pastor Reed to get Miss Beverly or or Beverly removed. Not so. He spoke on it and said not so. I don't even know Miss Beverly. First time I met her, she came to the lecture and said she had papers on me. So with that being said, we want to go ahead and close public speaking, and we will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion on the floor to adopt the consent agenda with any separation?
Madam Chair, make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, is there any support? Supported by Mr. Murphy.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes, I'd like to separate 230281.1, 230328, and 230329.
All right, any more separation? All right, seeing that we have none, we will go ahead and vote on the consent agenda. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Shea? Yes. Mr. Pfeiffer? Yes. Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
Mr. Mays?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley? Yes. Vote is 9 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 9 yes, 0 no. The consent agenda passes. So off to our first separation, resolution 230281.1.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Worthing.
I move this resolution to council.
All right, so there's a motion to move the resolution to council. Any support?
Support.
Supported by Councilwoman Shedd. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Worthing.
I'd like to invite Dr. Mona to the podium. If there's anything she would like to add about this program, about Flint kids.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity to address council again regarding RX Kids. I just spent the entire day in clinic above the farmer's market taking care of my babies. And I had a 4-week-old come to clinic today. His name was Destin. And I had this little baby in my arms, and he was a little premature, and his weight was kind of touch and go, and we were talking about how to mix formula and how to help the baby gain weight. And I was telling the mom, I was apologizing to the mom that we didn't have RX Kids yet. And I was telling her, I was asking her what she would do if we had RX Kids. If during pregnancy, she got $1,500 during pregnancy. And once that baby was born, they got $500 a month, every month until that baby was 1 year of age. And the mom said, I wish I could just stuff him back inside me and deliver him in January, because I wish I could get RX Kids now. I wish I had a prescription to lift my baby and my family out of poverty so that I could provide my family everything they need. And every family needs different things. They don't need a backpack or house repairs now. Every family has different needs, and this is unconditional money to lift the poorest city out of Michigan, to lift our children out of poverty. So as a nation, the numbers came out last week. As a nation, we more than doubled our rate of child poverty. We went from 5% to over 12% as a nation because we stopped the expanded child tax credit as a nation. So as a nation, we went from the lowest level of child poverty to a 12% rate of child poverty. The numbers for Flint came out last week too, for child poverty. Flint's child poverty rate soared to 69%, almost 70%. 70% of our kids are growing up without the resources they need to be healthy and successful. This is not about individual choices. This is about policies. This is about how we have the power to lift our families up, and we can do this. So RX Kids was started to disrupt this cycle of maternal infant poverty, to address maternal infant health disparities, maternal morbidity and mortality and prematurity and low birth weight, and all these disparities that plague our children, our communities, these racial and geographic disparities. Communities after community have been using ARPA dollars to do this. I'm going to list some of those. The Chicago Resilient Communities Cash Assistance Pilot, Newark Movement for Economic Equity, Cook County Promise, the Basic Income Guarantee Pilot, Los Angeles Economic Assistance Pilot, City of Evanston Guaranteed Income, Chicago Resilience Fund, Rise Up Cambridge. All of these communities are using ARPA dollars to do something similar to what we are trying to do. They are using public health emergency dollars to address a public health emergency, childhood poverty that was exacerbated by the pandemic. Flint was hit disproportionately by COVID. These are ARPA dollars. This is a way to address that public health emergency. When ARPA dollars are in the mix of cash transfers, it allows us to unlock protections. We have raised, in about 7 months, it's been unreal, we have raised about $40 million. And I've heard council members say, we don't need to give you money. You've already raised so much money. The state gave us $16.5 million. They only gave Flint. Other cities are like, why aren't you giving us money? They're like, no, we're gonna do this in Flint because we believe in Flint, because Flint needs this. And if Flint can do this, we will share it to other places. But ARPA dollars need to be in the mix, because when ARPA dollars are in the mix, when these public health emergency dollars are in the mix, it protects the benefits. It allows us to protect things like SNAP and WIC and Medicaid and child care subsidies and housing vouchers and SSI. It allows us to protect them so they are not declared as income. And that is because of the public health emergency. So yes, we have raised money. We still need about $15 million. My initial request for RX Kids through the ARPA application process was for $5 million. We still need $15 million to be able to do this for the next 5 years. Thank you for your time. I hope that we have your support.
Thank you, Dr. Roman. Yes. And that's your card.
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Dr. Mona Hannah Ati.
Mona's fine.
Did I say it in order?
You said it great. Mona's great too.
You know, I met you during the wild crisis.
Still here.
And I sat in the early hospital conference room when you first made your first, I think, public statement. And in that statement, what stuck out to me was when you thanked the activists and folks like myself and others who had been making noise before y'all had got involved per se. And that stuck out to me. That's how I met you. And ever since then, you've been getting all kind of attention for the work that you've done. Now, there's more. Now you're here before us dealing with this resolution for $1 million. And prior to you coming with this resolution for $1 million, I had 700 residents fill out what's called a initial request form for help for their homes and businesses. And certain members on this council and the administration, in my opinion, ignored it.
Amen.
They were regular people with no names. They didn't have Dr. Mona Hannah Tisha, however you said, Dr. Mona, you said, I can say. They didn't have your reputation. They didn't have a reputation of the land bank. So where I stand on this now, we've called a couple meetings that the majority of my colleagues didn't show up for. And we've been articulate trying to say we want a working session. We want to budget this money and we want to spend it and we want to get it out. But we want to know what we got and what we got left. And we even went to the point where we got to subpoena people and or documents to see what's going on. So I have no problem with the proposal. But I do have a problem with the the amount as we try to get people to cooperate on the council and the administration as we try to dish out this money.
Right.
So I know if something is time sensitive. I don't know, when I look at the program, it includes some language about Michigan State in this resolution, correct?
Correct.
And it also includes something about $500 a month per household for pregnant people, correct?
No, it's $1,500 for a pregnant mom during pregnancy.
$1,500, well, what is the
$500?
$500? But hold up, you said no. So what is the $500 for 12 months?
That's for once a baby's born, so it's
Okay, and that
$1,500.
comes in a household, right?
Right.
So why did you say no?
It's $1,500 during
I didn't
pregnancy.
speak on the 15.
$500.
I said there's something in there about 500 per household,
Per, okay.
right?
It's $500.
And you say, yeah, after the baby is born, 500 a month for 12 months.
Sure, $7,500 total.
Whatever the total is, I just spoke on 500 a household, and you said no, but the answer is yes.
$500 a month for the
Per
first 12 months.
household,
Yeah, for the
for
first
12
12 months.
months.
Right, that follows the infant, yes.
Yeah, I understand. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
When I said it, I was thinking you said no, and then you said 15. But either way, it's recorded. And sometimes there's a miscommunication. So my thing is this. When these proposals come to me, whoever's recommending them, whether it's a 12-member board that we got in court, whether it's Mr. Neely and his staff, the buck don't stop here.
All
The
right.
council by votes or more is going to determine.
That's true.
And so we sometimes get it last, but we don't get it for 3-4 minutes. These are the stupidest rules I've ever seen when we have to spend millions of dollars. Look, we can't even discuss it. Thank you so much.
Anyone
Stupid
else
rules.
would like to speak? First round.
Yes,
Go ahead, Mr. Murphy.
thank you so much. So for the, here's, and like my colleague said in the first ward, I hear what you guys are trying to do, but there are so many other, projects that we have to wait to see. I know me in particular is the Parks and Recreation. I know in Dewey Park that I spend a lot of time doing work in Ophelia Bottom Park. There, we have problems with people driving through the park tearing up the grass. So I was hoping that with the 1.5 million that was earmarked for the Parks and Recreation at the beginning of the year, and I got with the administration, Roy and Gavin and Nancy, and was those who was over to expedite those resolutions to bring before city council so we can get rolling on that. Now, at the end of the summer, that resolution is still not here. You have, you know, people who've been coming. Yvonne will House of Esther, even prior to you coming to city council she's been coming to city council since, Karen Weaver was the mayor, advocating for St. Agnes to do, shelter and support for women. And between the administration and this council, she got help when it came down to trying to get any kind of help to move. I would like to make a motion to take $500,000 of this $1 million and move it to House of Esther.
Too late. There is a motion on the floor to take $500,000 from our kids' proposal and give it to the House of Esther.
Madam Chair.
Oh, okay.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor to give House Esther $500,000 of the proposed $1 million in our kids back to board. Is there a second?
The Madam Chair.
Is there a second?
Madam Chair.
Is there a second?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Mays?
Yeah, I second the motion. Finally, and Madam Chair, now I'm gonna ask for the floor.
Please hold Mr. Murphy, you have the first.
Point of order.
What is your point?
Madam Chair, I don't care if you have the floor first, but when I say Madam Chair and I second the motion, and you say it's been moved and seconded, then I say Madam Chair, and that's how I get the floor. But since you want to go to Mr. Murphy, but you know.
Thank you, Mr. Mays. So, Mr. Mays, you don't have the floor. Please proceed, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you so much.
What is your point of order?
I already just said, you didn't rule on it. You just said, okay, you didn't have to, I didn't have time to give a floor. I just thought point of order and made some comments, so let's move on.
No, let's be clear. Point of
Let's
order.
move on.
And Mr. Mays, let's stay germane. And so we
Okay,
can
then
move on.
rule on my point of order.
Point of order denied. Go ahead.
Thank you. This resolution that I put together, and I'll send it to, the debate and then my colleague will give it to them, I think is, appropriate enough to share with my colleagues. And this is the Flint City Council recommending amending the following $1 million for Michigan State University and creating and establishing funding for up to $500,000 of $1 million to House of Esther to do all things necessary to purchase and obtain acquisition of the St. Agnes property. So, what this is will allow them the opportunity to purchase the St. Agnes property, and I know they was raising funds to purchase the St. Agnes property, but with this right here, this $500,000, and it could be from the same account, 287-729-100-801.000. What this will do will allow them the opportunity to obtain that property and use up whatever they need to do to fix up some of the damage that has been done to the St. Agnes property. And then with the funding that they have been raising, they can take that funding and reallocate towards the renovation, and they can start with one building at a time, and then they can work that building and work the rest of the building. So I'm not against you guys getting funding, but I look at those who have came before City Council who have been advocating, and she got a similar project, but you guys could serve as the fiduciary of Michigan State University, so you can still, if that's not the case, they can figure it out. But this is to do all things necessary to, and I see you shaking your head, and that concerns me, because we got minorities that's been out here with nonprofits that have been advocating and trying to get funding, and my heart go out to your mind, and all the hard work and the dedication and the countless hours of sitting in City Council, hoping that she can get council to approve them getting acquisition, then to go from buying the building from $73,000 to $113,000 to $400 and some $1,000, just to far reach someone like them that may have to struggle to try to figure out how this is the opportunity that we're gonna give you $1 million, and you already got funding in addition to what we already may be allocating towards you. Why not share the wealth? And $500,000 go to you guys, and $500,000 go to House of Esther, and we all win. Because what this community has said countless times that have came to City Council and hit this podium is that they want an opportunity, they want us to share an opportunity for people like House of Esther to be able to make moves and help develop on the north side of Flint. This way, now it's up to us as a council to see what we gonna do. We advocated, we talked about House of Esther, and I'm not against funding you some money, but what I am against is the House of Esther advocates who have came to city council countless times and have advocated to get some help, to help with the House of Esther. And, you know, they have done great work. And I did see the video of Tanya, I think, who did a video showing that somebody broke into the building and just messed up. And that's very unfortunate that that happened. And I think this right here will help move the ball forward to help them be able to get the building, acquisition of the building, and to, if they got a little change left, maybe they can fix some rusted windows and doors, and maybe they can get some furniture or whatever, and then they can take the other monies that people have been wanting to donate, and they can use that money towards fixing up other stuff. Maybe they want to do landscaping or whatever. But if we're gonna give $1 million, why not share it and give some to House of Esther, who have been coming down here for years? And I'm not against the RX Kids program. I think you guys are doing a great job. But what I'm against is seeing the House of Esther come to city council, and this council ignore it. Now's the time for us to show up and see what we gonna really do. Thank you, and that motion, I'm done.
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, Madam Chair, just so you understand, Dr. Bowman, I second that motion because I'm always playing with these clocks. See, I'm knowing when I second the motion, it's 2 more rounds of 5 minutes to discuss multi-million-dollar business. We haven't even seen your paperwork yet.
I submitted an application.
Yeah, we requested that. We want to see all of them. And you know, it's nothing to do with you. I'm just talking out loud because I'm looking at your demeanor, your expression, plus I'm talking to the public. I got to talk to more than you. And so I second that, even though I've got compassion and business in my heart for the House of Esther. I got compassion and business in my heart for the families that you want to help. And so even if you didn't take money from here and put it there, that's 1.5 million. When you're talking 1.5 million and you're working with 30 to 40 million, if you really get your budget together, you might can do both. When you're looking at what Pastor Reed was talking about, 50,000, when you really get your act together, you might do 150,000. Because you're talking 30, 40 million. But you don't want to piecemeal it and do folks out of turn because of what their name is. What your name is. What your name is. Whether it's the My Foundation, the Land Bank, or Dr. Mona, you want to do stuff in order. You want them that you don't know who their name is. Mr. Johnson, John Doe, Miss Stevenson, all them 700 people, you want to help everybody. And there's enough money to go around.
Wow.
And you have to get the council and the administration to talk about it publicly in front of us, not behind closed doors with applications and deadlines the way it's been done now. That's very problematic.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to stand for it. It's at a point now where it started out at 97 million. And so it's now somewhere between 30 and 60 million. And it's time to buckle down. I'm going to call you up and let you speak on it seriously. I don't mind. And so now it's time to buckle down. Let me get back to you. Doc, did you have something you want to add? Through you, Madam Chair, to my man. You want to say something?
What happened to the money?
You're welcome. Come on. Thank you, Dr. Bowman. We'll see what happens.
So, I hear y'all acting all this money, and y'all saying what y'all did with the ARPA fund and all this. But what happened to it? I don't see nothing happening in the city of Flint when it was downtown development. Where's the rest of it going to?
And that's what
You got people out here, you know, I understand they got $97 million came to the city of Flint. That money was supposed to use for the city of Flint, not now Flint only, all over you. All these buildings around here need to be taken care of. The money y'all had in this town, this would be like paint place.
I think we can do better. And I
We
think-
can do better if y'all get y'all head together.
But how do you do that? Now you
How you do-
gotta say how to.
How you do that?
Yeah, how you do.
Sit at the table, with understanding with each other. not
Okay,
confused.
so.
Because you can make an opinion, she can make an opinion, she can make an opinion. If y'all can't come together and put it together, make a team, and make it work, how you think something gonna work?
Let's say if we call another special meeting, because we called one and didn't enough show up that.
What y'all call a special, how many people know that you call a special meeting?
2,
2 to 3, right?
it take 2 to call and it takes 5 to show up. When we called it last time, only 4 showed up. Ms. Burns, Ms. Ricardo, Mr. Murphy, and myself.
That's why.
So you said it's high time to call another work.
It's high time, but that's the reason why I sit down here and told you guys before. If all y'all come with your agenda, what the city can do, you guys gotta build something. You got homeless people out here sleeping in the streets all over the city of Flint. Reason why? Because y'all don't want to do your job.
And this ain't a rocket science. You
Right.
think it's that easy to get it done.
It's easy if y'all put your mind together.
I might call you back up.
Yeah,
There go that clock again.
Y'all stop
I
talking.
appreciate you.
So anyone else in the first round?
I got it.
It's no secret I'm not in favor of ARMS kids. And I've had my issues regarding the House of Esther purchasing saying this. Number one, we don't know if it's legal for us to take money to give to an organization to purchase property from the city. That's us basically, in my mind, giving them property for nothing. Number two, regarding House of Esther, they had plenty of time to get their personal property out of the building when they were evicted. They did not do that.
Request for information.
What you know?
They have not been evicted.
Thank you. So, I'm not in favor of this, Mr. Murphy, and I'm really sorry to say that, kind of. I fully support the House of Esther's mission. Fully support it. Do I support the House of Esther? Not really in their fundraising efforts being proven. In order to purchase the property when they had the option on the property, which they no longer have. How, if we gave them $500,000, how would they be able to get that property up to code so that they could have mothers in that property? How is it going to be made safe? There's no water run to that building. The property has been vandalized. What are we going to do? We can't just give them the property. And they have to have the funds available to do that renovation necessary. I would love to see House of Esther start small and grow into it. Start with 3 or 4 bedroom homes. That I think they could swing. But, so I'm gonna vote no on this resolution. I'm also gonna vote no for RX Kids. I've said that before. I believe it's welfare. It's not sustainable. We cannot continue this. And when those children get to be 5 years old, what happens to the parents? Have they gone out and gotten a job, learned a trade? We don't know. They could do that now because there's plenty of resources for that. Mott has many programs. There's plenty of financial aid. You don't need to have a degree to earn a decent living. You could learn a skilled trade. I'm not 100% behind everybody needs to go to college, but there's lots of programs and jobs out there that are begging for people.
Everybody's not equipped.
They're begging for people. So, number one, I'm not voting for arts kids, as I already said, and number two, I'm not gonna vote for this resolution. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Anyone else would like to speak on the motion?
Eric.
Ms. Words. Excuse me, no yelling out. Go ahead.
Is this the first round still?
Yes.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Wilford Carter.
Quincy, I hear what you're saying as far as, Councilman Murphy.
He's there.
Councilman Murphy, I hear what you're saying as far as House of Lester and splitting it. And I do also agree with the RS children. But I'm not gonna vote for anything that deals with the ARPA money right now until this administration can be transparent. We have not had the transparency. We're getting resolutions, but we have not been informed of the recommendations that the so-called opera committee made. So I believe in full transparency, and right now, I cannot vote on anything that's coming before us. Because first of all, I don't even know how did the opera committee make their recommendations. And their so-called recommendations went to the mayor first. Then he sends us these resolutions, but the council didn't even have a chance to even look at a list of what was recommended.
That part.
So why should I, as a council member, sit here and vote for anything that has to do with opera funds
It's pretty.
that was recommended by this so-called 12-member opera committee? I can't do it. I'm sorry. So I'll be voting to abstain. And whoever can get on Facebook and talk about colleagues abstaining, that's what I'm gonna do. Until it's clear. Thank you.
Very well said.
Anyone else like to speak on this motion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Burns.
thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Murphy Carter, for what you stated, because we do know that people will get on and say, we abstained, then they'll say something totally different and lie, but they never get on Facebook or social media and say anything. We do it all the time about abstaining, and then they put our pictures up there too. So I'm gonna speak to this, Councilman Murphy, you know how I feel about this. You know that. And I get Dr. Mona's, you know, when we talk about that, and she has, and I'm looking at her body language and her saying, oh, this is my program and I want to keep it the way it is. And you're saying, let's break it up and spread the wealth around, and I get that. I cannot vote on it because there's a lawsuit, because the 12-member ARPA advisory committee, we don't know how the recommendations have come down. It has been told by our ad hoc committee that they were not, they were kept in the dark, that this administration has been very secretive. We had to subpoena the records and the applications, because some applications they saying people put in, and some people are getting money that didn't even put in an application. So the process is flawed. That's not on your group, it's not on us. It's just the way it is, and I will not pass or be a part of anything at this point that has not been transparent. It's not equitable, and we've got some issues. And to my colleague Judy, she has stated consistently that she felt that it was a form of welfare for, and the program could sustain itself, that it would run out and so it wouldn't be able to continue. And this is where we are able to disagree but still be, I feel, amicable. I don't agree with her. I do not agree at all. At all. Because when you are a single mother, you really understand that things can be expensive. When my first daughter was born, I remember formula, and she had Nutramigen. A box of diapers and some Nutramigen would cost me $50 then. I don't even know what Nutramigen costs now. And I did not receive any government assistance, nothing. So you have incidentals that may happen with when you're a young mom or expecting mom. You got to be a mother to know that. You know, your light bill, your tire got flat, or you don't have daycare, you know, or, you know, you need clothes, it's time to get shoes. My mother-in-law used to check my baby's shoes, age stride rights, and let me know when she felt they needed shoes. So it's things that parents, you know, do, and stride rights were expensive. Now they wear tennis shoes. So when we talk about how times have changed, Judy has a different view. She wanted for House of Esther to have a cupcake sale. Not gonna happen. That was just not realistic. It was not. But we can't be a life coach. We cannot be a life coach on expected mothers and tell them how to live their life. We can assist them and give them the guidance and the skills. And that's what these programs, House of Esther and your program is doing. When we talk about House of Esther, and I want to be clear, House of Esther had an investor. Judy, the investor, is still here in the audience today, who said he would pay for it. The administration wouldn't sell the property. They have a sustainable program. They would have a waiting list. I will not let false or misinformation be put out there. They are still helping in the community. So they don't need a 2-bedroom or 2 or 3. That is not your decision to make, unfortunately. Because we have an overabundance of homeless teen moms who are in foster care. And those moms actually age out and the baby is kept inside of the foster system. Now, people talk about nursing. I nursed all 3 of my children and don't regret it. It was not convenient when I did it, and my daughter's 33. It wasn't the good thing, but it was the healthy thing. So when we talk about keeping these kids with their moms, if a mother is nursing consistently, you can pump, but it's not the same. That baby bonds with the mother. That baby has to. And when we don't keep the mom and the baby together, then these kids, they go out and we say, well, why don't they feel like anybody loves them? Now, I had shooting in my work this week. These kids don't have parents. It used to be the grandparents raising them. Now the streets is raising them. So if we can do something proactive by helping the program, I'm going to help them. And Councilman Murphy, I wish I could, if it wasn't for the other part you bring this back up, I will support it. Because it's not a decision that the ARPA committee is making, it's a decision we are making. And that's the big difference. We have the capability, the ability to make a change, a huge change. And with a grassroots program, and not by just raising or selling some cupcakes.
That's right. Amen.
Anyone else would like to
Let's
speak in the
briefly-
first round?
How about that?
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes. Mr. Murphy, I support the House of Esther. I think the last vote, I don't recall exactly what it is, but I believe I abstained because at the time I was president and they named me in the lawsuit, so I had to abstain. And I'll say it on the record and say loud and proud, I'm pro-life, 100% I support it. And I support this program, RX Kids, because that's where we have a little difference in philosophy. I believe because this is a set period of time, money, that this is a hand up, not a hand out. So that's where we're going to disagree, Ms. Priestley. But I guess I got to, through you, Madam Chair, to Ms. Priestley, if you have the spreadsheet up, did House of Esther apply for ARPA? So that's where I don't want to start the.
I'll double check. Just a second. I didn't think I saw it. Let me double check it. Give me a minute,
Yeah.
because I thought,
I don't recall, I thought I had not seen it, but, Ms. Burns says that you did, so I will look that up right now.
is your request for information?
Yeah, question, this is a big point of information, question. Through you to the speaker, did the disability network apply for the $250,000?
From what I'm hearing, no.
Whoa!
At that
There,
time,
Gil. Gonna throw the baby out with the water again.
if that was the case, I would vote against it, because that right there is picking and choosing
So when black
instead
people
of,
didn't pay for the thing
instead of that.
anyway.
But I don't think anybody on this council looked to see if they were submitted an application or not. And
Tarzan
that's
brought that up.
shame on me as much as anybody else that we didn't double check that, because we are the checks and balances. So to your point, you are 100% correct. Yeah.
I see no application under public health or housing and blight, for a house of Esther.
Ooh,
So, I don't mind, so I think we're we're conflating two different things. We're talking about giving them money, but we're also assuming that they're gonna use that money for the building, and they will get granted that building, which I don't know if those two things equal out. I don't have a problem with giving them money to start up. My question would be, since they didn't put in an application, are the funds that we are using, or that we have allocated for discrepancy, are those funds only going to be allocated for people with, that submitted applications, or for projects that we feel passionate about? I don't know.
do it, you know, Tarzan.
But, because it's now on our radar to look at, to see who submitted applications, I don't necessarily, and that's maybe something we need to look at for sure. If they're saying that they submitted an application, that's very troubling.
Yep.
That's very troubling if they submitted an application and it's not on our sheet.
I did find
You did,
disability, disability.
you found a point of information.
All right, I did find there, but that's why I thought I had seen one under public health, applications. There was one from the Disability Network for, $275,000.
Oh, so there was one.
There was one.
Sorry, folks, that, if you see that spreadsheet, it's impossible to read.
Yeah, it actually says and I looked for disability in alphabetical order, but it is the disability.
So, thank you,
Wow.
Ms. Priestley, for keeping track of that. There is no House of Esther, you looked at anything?
House of Esther's legal name is House of Esther.
Request for information. Oh, well, you don't have the floor. You have the floor. Go ahead.
So, because they didn't submit, or the information we don't have submitted, I don't have a problem coming back if they did submit and taking it out of the discretionary dollars that we have allocated in that category. But whether or not we want to alter the dollar amount for RX kids, it is the purview of the body, but I don't want to allocate monies to someone that didn't apply from what we know. But I will support anything if it comes out of discretionary. I do.
Anyone else like to speak on this motion? Anyone else? Well, saying that,
You made it the first point of order, you made it the first round.
yes, in the first round. Anyone else? All right, seeing that there is no one else, I'll go ahead and take my time. So, I'm glad the colleagues pointed that out. One thing that one colleague said is that they did not get any recommendations from the committee. We did. And it was on the spreadsheet emailed to us at the beginning of August. However, the spreadsheet was not friendly to look at. So let's be clear, not getting anything friendly and dissecting, look at two totally different streets. So we did receive it, but it was not in a good format. Next, I'm glad that Councilwoman Priestley pointed out that Disability Network did apply for funds. Again, let's make sure that we're putting out factual information. And so, Dr. Mona, if you could please approach the lectern. So I have a few questions because, you know, it was brought to my attention. We have audience members, community residents, they feel that we should have $16 million towards home ownership. I said, sure, so where will it come from? We were waiting on our colleagues to take a look at the budget that Ms. Priestley and I worked on, and this body passed this the ARPA allocation. This body already passed that. And so we were looking.
Information.
What is your request?
You mean the majority of this body, right? Not everybody, it wasn't unanimous. You mean the majority of this body, correct?
This body passed it, okay? And so the fact that this body passed it, that's what we agreed to. And so we told our colleagues, please, go through this, look and see where we can capture that 16 million, since a lot of the colleagues stated that we won't vote for it because we need more money in home repairs. We said, do the work, bring it back, and we can vote on it. The work has yet to be done. So thank you for coming to the lecture, Dr. Mona. And so my question is this: how much money are you looking to raise for this monumental program?
The total budget to do this for 5 years of moms and babies, so starting with babies born in 2024, is $55 million. We need $11 million a year to do this. $9 million a year is for the direct cash allowances. Money is going to go to every pregnant mom and every baby, to every ward. This is putting money directly into the hands of everybody in Flint, every pregnant mom and every baby. Another $1 million is needed for operations a year. Another $1 million is needed for evaluation. So it's $11 million a year. The $9 million in cash allowances will be spent in the local economy. This is going to create a massive boost to our economy. Think of it as a jolt. It's going to support small businesses and everything else. We need $55 million. We have raised over $40 million. We have a $15 million gap.
Okay, thank you for all of that. So my next question is this. That $1 million that you said you applied for the fund.
We applied.
Okay, so now it's clear that they applied for the
Right.
funds. Okay, you did our application.
Everything.
Okay, all right. And so you're asking this body, not for the $5 million that you applied for, but for $1 million, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so, what is the reason that you're asking this body for $1 million? Is it a contingency in terms of other donors? Go ahead.
So there's 3 reasons why ARPA dollars is important. If ARPA dollars is in the mix of our funds, it protects benefits. This is not considered income, so it's more considered as a gift because of the public health declaration. So when ARPA dollars are in this pool of money, it protects people's benefits. That's the number 1 reason we need ARPA dollars. Number 2, we have national donors who have not committed to RX Kids because the city has not committed. They are not buying into this program until they see that the city of Flint is supporting their own moms and babies. So that is the second reason that the city of Flint needs to come alongside a massive village of folks in Goodland State to support moms and families. So those are the 2 biggest reasons that we want the city dollars involved.
Okay, thank you. So, hearing that it's a contingency, we are leveraging this fund. I think this is almost the best leverage that we had so far. We're about to turn $1 million into $55 million to go into the pockets of mothers that reside in this city.
Every mom and baby.
Yeah. Thank you. So now we will go on to our second
Madam
round.
Chair.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something real quick, and I'm gonna call somebody up, but my point is this. Any money we spend is gonna be the decision of the council, and it's gonna take, for me, just like what Ms. Winfrey Carter said, it's gonna take some discussion and some arithmetic and calculation gotta be done. I'm not gonna keep spending here, spending there, and then we ain't even getting to the meat of what I think is my concern. That's the home improvements and business investment. Generational wealth in most areas. And I keep hearing you, Ms. Lewis, talk about what the council, the majority passed. This majority council voted repeatedly wrong on just the simple application of the rules. But my point in bringing up what you're saying, I done did budgets for 10 years. And when you do a municipal budget with multi-millions of dollars, I guarantee you, and I challenge anyone in the public to prove me wrong, you make amendments. You're making amendments to the budget month after month, year after year. So don't keep saying what this council has approved initially. You can amend that budget. And we at that point of amendment. We need to have a working session, amend the budget, see what we gonna do, and then start spending money. There's enough money to do both things. If we wanted to, he was gonna help out with the house Esther, we can help out. The problem with the house Esther, Mr. Mercy, was the plumbing for one. If it relates to that building. Pastor Harris, we talking about that property where Saints of God used to be on Pearson Road. So have time to discuss it through you, Madam Chair. I said to Mr. Woodson and any other public member, this ain't a rocket science. Would you come and say what you think? You've been here long enough. You gotta meet. And when you call meetings, Ms. Lewis, you for one should show up.
Arthur Woodson, don't take this personal. This is all about money, kids, Flint. Not too long ago, ACLU sued our Flint community schools to help out community schools. NCE, Neuro Center of Excellence, got GHS and registry got $4.2 million from the school district for NCE. That money was supposed to make sure that our Flint kids, data, everything, assessments, was supposed to be done.
Right.
Out of 400 kids, only 10 of them was from Flint. The majority of the money, $3.2 million that went to GHS, only $50,000 was used for the therapists. Only 2 kids was able to be seen once a week. The rest of the money went to salaries.
Hold up.
Registry, same thing. I have issues with it. Nothing against Dr. Mona personally. But when I seen her and Dr. Edwards on the stand for the state, my stomach dropped. How much money goes to MSU out of that $55 million? I'm tired of our kids being misused. How many of the kids in the juvenile home, since they the registry, how many kids in the juvenile home was affected by the water and still sentenced and sent to prison? They can't tell us that. 0 to 12, they don't have any data on. That's what I heard, because I've been asking for it. Stop throwing money just anywhere and everywhere. Revive Health Center, Tillman's, almost close to $1 million. She get $97,000 and live in Florida. Only open 2 times a week. Virtual on Monday. Only a couple hours on Wednesday. And then you got an inbox to get formula. When House of Esther have been down here every day trying to get money to help. And they're keeping the kids, the young women, in the place.
Mr. Woodson, can I ask, are you willing to show up in a working session to discuss all this money?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Anyone else like to speak in the second round?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Morgan?
I'm unsure why we are calling random people up to the podium about this. I would like to hear from actual people that know the statistics here, and has nothing This program has nothing to do with what was just mentioned. I want to address the welfare comments and that I guess pregnant women and women with new babies need to find jobs. That was insulting. You obviously have not had children because having a child means that you are, you're out of work. You can't go right back to work after having a child. So we have parents that may even be well off, but there is no national program here, as in other countries like Germany, Canada, that support mothers and fathers with 1 year off after having a child, so that they can spend time with their newborn babies. For those who are pro-life to say that this isn't needed are not truly pro-life, because mothers need to be with their children, their babies. They need to not have to worry about work. And if you're a single mother and you don't have support, then you're supposed to go back to work immediately, apparently, after having a child. So, I don't know, unless you've had a child, unless you've been pregnant, unless you've been through this, the opinion to me is not valid. Even 9 months of being pregnant, that's a lot. I could barely work in my last months of my pregnancies because it's tiring. Many people have issues during their pregnancy where they're constantly sick and they have to be on bed rest. And I don't think any of them needed someone to find them a job while they were in the hospital trying to rest so that they could have their child. And if I sound upset about it, it's because I am. I just cannot believe some of the comments I've heard. Also, the House investor has nothing to do with this. This was money that was applied for. Dr. Mona is in charge of this. She is a trustworthy person to be in charge of this. So I don't want to just support homeowners and home repairs. This is helping mothers and children, the least of these. And I will always, this is very big on my heart, I teach children, they don't always have, and they always need a leg up. And again, even if you have the money, when you take time off for your child, there's no guaranteed income, none. So I had to save up money to take 3 months off, which is the maximum allowable amount to guarantee your job with FMLA. And so I was privileged enough to be able to save that money beforehand. But with inflation, I don't know if I could do that at this moment if that were to happen to me again. And $500 a month, that's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket for everything a child needs. And so pregnant mothers and mothers don't need jobs. They need help so that they can provide for their children and be healthy. I brought up before that it is African American mothers that are more likely to die during childbirth and after because of lack of healthcare and resources. So in this community, we especially need mothers and children to have more resources. This is something near and dear to my heart. I will, of course, vote yes. I would hope that we have 5 to vote yes. If not, I'd be very disappointed. But I think we veered off the conversation quite a bit recently. Let's just remember what this resolution is about, and let's support Flint mothers and children. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak in the second round?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes, the category for the disability network, I'm not, What I was trying to clear out, category that we funded for, the disability network, I'm not sure it came out of the category that we actually funded the disability network, and that's what I was trying to get, Drew to clarify. Did we pull from the application that they actually applied? So you got different categories of ARPA funding. And I'm not sure that the funding that we applied, if we actually funded the disability network, they actually applied for. So, just to clear that up, I would like to do a referral through you to the vendor to make sure that the category that they were funded for, they actually applied, or did they get funded through a category that they did not apply for. That's what I need to get clarity on. Also, through the chair, to Dr. Mona, my question to you is, so the mothers who have babies that was born December, November, will those mothers be able to apply for this fund?
The program starts in 2024
I
in
can't hear you.
January. The program starts in January 2024 for pregnant moms and babies born in January 2024.
So for all the mothers who have babies that was born, that's under 12 months, they won't be eligible for this fund.
There has to be a start date, 2024.
That was a problem for me, because you got a lot of mothers, to my colleagues, that, you know, I hear you talk about mothers. You got mothers that just had a baby in December, November, they won't be eligible for this funding. So what we saying is, you gotta be pregnant after January, and you got to have your baby after January. So from January to December, for 12 months, you got to done had a baby. So it's only a limited.
No, the program's gonna go happen for 5 years. So it's for all babies born, if we get enough money, in the next 5 years. But it starts, I wish I could start now. If we had more money, we could start sooner. But it starts in 2024 for pregnant moms, people who are pregnant in 2024, or babies born in 2024. But it will continue up until, I think, babies born in 2028, if we raise enough money. But the goal is to do this for 5 years of pregnant moms and babies, and we have a sustainability plan. The money we got from the state is from TANF.
So you basically gotta go have some kids.
Don't we want to improve the population?
You gotta go have some kids, so for the kids that's already here, that you're talking about, that's in school, or just had a baby, they won't be eligible for the funding, so it won't help them. That's the problem.
It starts, I wish we could start sooner. I wish we had come up with this
I mean,
idea
because
sooner.
right now, people gotta go have a baby in order to.
If Miss Priestley don't get a hold to him,
Okay.
the man,
That's all I need.
catch the man.
Thank you.
We're on the second round, right?
Yeah.
Any other discussion in the second round? Any other discussion in the second round? Seeing no movement, roll call vote, please. Oh, excuse me. Roll call vote.
All right.
Point of order.
What do you?
Restate the motion before we vote, that's proper.
A big baby for the brick camp.
So there is a motion on the floor to give the House of Exeter $500,000 of the recommended amount for ours kids, $1 million. Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Madam Chair, could you repeat that again?
Sure. So the motion on the floor to give the House of Exeter $500,000 of ours kids, $1 million. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
I abstain because we are currently waiting on a court date for the ARC Advisory Committee and the selection process for multi-member boards.
Ms. Michelle?
No.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
No.
Ms. Worthing? No. Mr. Mays?
I abstain because we can do it all. We can do the 1 million and the 500,000 if we so choose to do it. So until we go over the whole thing, I abstain at this time.
Ms. Lewis?
Now,
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley? No. Ms. Winfrey Carter?
I abstain for reasons stated before.
Vote is 1 yes, 5 no, 3 abstentions.
the vote is 1 yes, 5 no, and 3 abstentions. Yes, that's all right. All right, so that motion fails. So going back to the original motion, we are currently on our first round, and this is for the amended resolution to fund our kids. So far we have the first ward, the ninth ward, and the third ward have spoken in the first round. Anyone else in the first round? All right, seeing that there's no one else in the first round, I'll briefly take my time. This is a no-brainer. And it's a no-brainer because when initially I was wondering if you have the excess millions, such as I'll say the 54 million, why do you need our 1 million? Because I was looking for places, actively looking for places to give the resident that extra money for home repair. However, when I was told that it was a contingency, and outside investors were looking at us saying, if Flint is not willing to invest in Flint, why should we invest in Flint? It makes nothing but sense. So then I said, true. So now we're looking at, this is one, when somebody said the math ain't mathing, this math is over mathing. Like I mentioned before, you're telling me that I'm gonna give you $1 million, and in exchange, you're gonna give me $55 million. You're gonna flood this city. These mothers don't live in Flint Township, okay? They don't live in Atlanta. They don't live in Grand Blanc. These Flint mothers live in Flint, and they have Flint babies that do Flint stuff. So seeing that $1 million, we can magically turn that into $55 million, I'll be remiss not to invest in this investment. This is the ultimate leverage fund. I don't think that we have leverage funds to this caliber since we allocated any amount of ARPA dollars. This is good for Flint. This is good for Flint mothers. I didn't know anything about the situation of mothers till I became one. And yes, you can't work. The doctor tells you to sit your tail down for the first few weeks. I'm for the first month. So they're telling you to sit down, you can't do anything, you can't work. This is definitely a hand up for the mothers. This is definitely a hand up for the city in terms of paying bills. This money might help out paying the water bill, some taxes. This money is going to restaurants, grocery stores, the new Flint food market as soon as they open its doors. This is where this money can go. So the fact that this is even a discussion is not. I applaud Dr. Mona for even bringing this to the city of Flint, because Flint, we're known for pioneering great things. We were the first in community education. You all know that we were the first in the automotive industry, and I'm proud to be a part of the voting body that want to vote for this to be the first in the United States, pioneered right here with the city of Flint, mother. There's no negative sides to this. There's no downside to giving somebody $1 million and may turn into 55 million. So, seeing that there's no one else in the first round, second round,
Madam Chair.
Mr. May.
Madam Chair, be careful what you say. It's always a pro and con. You can put $500 in the hands of a mom that spent it on alcohol.
Yes.
You don't never say it's never a downside. Now, I don't know if that'll happen with any of it. That's why I'm gonna say through you to Ms. Dr. Mona, come and let's talk a little bit. We've got the right to know the details. You're not gonna sell me talking about there's no downside. We ain't even went through the program. Because you can't do it in 5 minutes and y'all refusing to meet on an off day.
What's left for information?
That's your first warning. Go ahead, what's your request? I'm gonna tell you how it is. Go ahead, what's your request?
Did you receive the packet from Dr.
I've received it all. I've been receiving packets for 10 years, and I do the same. You out of order, you using it to take the vote.
I'm not done. Did you receive the packet
Well,
from
stop
Dr.
it.
Mona Letitia?
I
That
can
has
ignore
all
you.
the details.
I can ignore you. You give out warnings when we do this, except if our name is worthy. So don't be a hypocrite. Let us do request for information and quit warning us and trying to throw us out, and you do just as many as we do.
Madam Clerk, please start the time.
And I'm gonna demonstrate it, because you've been out of hand for weeks and months. Now let me try to get back to where I was at, Dr. Mona. I was getting at the monitoring of the money once it's dished out. There are all those guidelines in place.
Yes,
How do you monitor it?
we're working with an international organization called Give Directly. This is all they do. They give people money. They
So
verify.
somebody gonna monitor that
They
when
do.
we give it out each
Yes,
month?
they have fraud
Okay, let me
detection.
move past, because really where I'm headed is making a motion to postpone it till we can get some more information and talk, and until we can budget the rest of this month. So I ain't quite there yet, but I'm listening to the speech of the person who's been meeting with the unlawful recommendation and advisory committee. See, that committee was appointed by Mr. Neely, and the charter said it should be appointed by the council. An advisory recommendation committee and some folks that's new up here that went buck wild. And so I'm in agreement that we can bet and allocate to any category we want. But the key word is bet and then allocate. It ain't taking recommendations from folks who we ain't even know what they to bet. So that's where the problem is coming in for me. And at this point, if I attempt to count votes, which I can't, because this is a strange committee and a strange group, I think it's going to be responsible to postpone it to committee and then try to get detailed information. Let me ask you this question. What if we gave you the 1 million and y'all didn't raise the 55 million? So is the 55 million guaranteed?
We've raised 41 million.
You raised 21 million.
No,
but
41.
She talking about 55. I said, what if you did? Do y'all get $1 million back? And why does she keep saying the million raised 55 and you telling me y'all have already raised 41? What is she talking about? You have already raised 41 without the million. She throwing me out there now. I've never seen 1 million leverage 55. If that ain't true, you already got 41. And do the whole 41 go in the city of Flint?
All the $1 million is all for this program for only city.
Well, the city of Flint, it's a bigger program than the city of Flint.
No, it's only for.
Okay, so if we didn't give $1 million, we already got 41 million.
But the donors who won't give until the city gives. And when there's ARPA money, it helps
Let me
protect
say
benefits.
this, that's totally different what I heard my colleague just say. And so that's why I say we have to get an understanding. We can't listen to her. We have to listen to you.
Happy to answer
We have to ask the right questions. Here I'm thinking y'all at 0 and 1 million gonna get you 55. You already got 41 million. So, you know, it's a reason that I don't press the gas too fast. I'm gonna make a motion to table this back to Finance Committee unless somebody wanna give us more time to talk, cause this clock is killing me with 21 seconds. So my motion is to table it to, back to Finance unless y'all wanna extend the time, and I so move.
All right, there is a motion to table resolution 230281.1 to finance. Any support? Support by Mr. Murphy. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Mays.
what I just heard from Dr. Moore, I appreciate it.
Point of order.
What is your point?
Is there a discussion for table? Okay, thank you.
It might not be, but you give it to me, I'm gonna take it back to trail, because that's on him to figure the rules out. I appreciate it. What's the ruling? Is it, we got 3 minutes, anybody, we ain't talking to your attorney, Jim?
It's 3 minutes.
Council business. You ready to jump in? And be given wrong, he told them they could deliberate outside the council meeting more than 2. And that's what they believe. Yeah, we started. Oh, you may proceed? Okay. I'm glad, thank you. You in order for that. That's the point of, thank you, ma'am. I'm not gonna warn you, I like the audience. Dr. Mona was saying, thank you for the information. And, we'll see what happens with this motion to table it back to finance. We'll see what happens. From the information that you've given me as I sort through this, I'm clearly understanding some things. I understand the 1,500, I understand the 500 a month for 12 months. I understand we don't have pregnant women and babies. I'm not opposed to that. But what I do want to do, I want to try to get this whole budget in order. Whether it's y'all program, the house ads, the home improvements, I want to take a peek at this juncture on the whole budget. And the only way we're going to do that is to get cooperation from the mayor's administration and the council. And they're going to both have to show up at a meeting that I like to call a working session. So you'll see me, once this motion pass or fail, once I get the opportunity, you'll see me put a motion on the floor, whether it's for next week, 2 weeks from now, or 3 weeks from now, to try to get this thing moving. And so, don't throw in the towel, but be patient, just as we went through trials and tribulations during the water crisis. And we go through trials and tribulations in our everyday life. So hang in there and we'll see what happens. But now you know, I ain't as smart as people give me credit for. Maybe it'll pass tonight. But I'm looking at count votes and it could be some problems. We'll see what happens. Thank you so much. I'll be voting to postpone back to finance.
Anyone else would like to speak?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Burns?
Dr. Mona, I am going to vote to send it back to finance, but I do want to let you know, because when we abstain, my reasoning for abstaining is very clear. My colleague, Ms. Lewis, has put on Facebook that we keep abstaining with another colleague. And I don't even know if you know, are aware of one of your workers who attacked me on social media with her. And I support this program. I support this program. My abstention, I am consistent, my colleagues know it, and I take taking care of babies very seriously. And the immortality rate, when you first came up, we were over at the Domes, I let you know that I support this. But we have to be careful that I have to remain impartial, that dealing with some of these people who say that they do not make attacks on social media, they do. They do. My abstaining is not something any of my colleagues should be getting into, because it jeopardizes your program. It jeopardizes. You have a worker on Facebook, but she wants to recall me, that's friends with Ms. Lewis. And I still have to set all that aside. Your program is a great program. And I stand on that. I stand on that. And I was going to send you, now I'm going to send you the email so you can see. Because if your item is coming before us, I don't want your employee to become,
Liability.
their words have become toxic. And so when you do that, for me, it is really about the program and the work that's being done. I'm not here for popularity. My choices are mine. I stand on them, and I stand before the sixth board. But they talked about me abstaining. And if she went back and forth on social media with your employee, that was a terrible thing to do. Because if I was a spiteful, vindictive, did not care about the community and how they attacked me, I would have voted no for your program. And see, that's what we have to be careful. Because they'll come up here and give pretty speeches and talk about what they don't do, and it's just not true. I support your program. I don't want it to die. And I wish we had had a court case that was, because the 12-member advisory committee, I stand, all of my decisions are based on charter, our council rules, and common sense. But I support this project. I don't want it to die. And that's why I am going to vote to send it back. And I will continue to support it because moms need support, as I stated for the reason. But be careful with your work. She needs to be careful because she's getting information from some toxic people, and it's not fair. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anyone else would like to speak to the first round?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Carter.
And Dr. Mona, I want you to know I do support this program. However, like I stated before, I want transparency. And I agree with Councilman Mays. I think we need to have a meeting. We need to sit down and we need to sort through this ARPA fundings and these resolutions coming to us without, we don't know. We don't know. We've given out voting for resolutions, and some of this stuff, some of the resolutions, they have not even applied for money, and that's not fair. I want full transparency. So, don't worry, I'm gonna vote to send it back to committee. We're gonna work through this, and then maybe I'll be able to vote for ARPA funding. But until then, I'm gonna have to abstain. And my colleagues, they can get on Facebook, they can talk about my abstentions, so be it. But I gotta do what I think is right. So, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anyone else would like to speak?
Madam Chair.
Councilman Shea.
So, Dr. Mona, I will not be voting to table this simply because I want it to go through to council. Hopefully, we do have the votes and the support to get it to go through to council. And so, I'm in full support of this program. I completely understand. I understand that with the ARPA money being a part of it, it saves the benefits of the mother. And that is a huge selling point for me of why we need to put the ARPA money there to protect benefits of mothers who will get this money so that they will not be later taken away. And so I'm in full support of that, and then everything else goes without saying. And I know that my colleague in the ninth was making a point as a mother, and she was really passionate about it. I've not given birth to a child, but I still fully understand the plights of mothers and single mothers. I've watched people in my family and just people around the community, and I understand, like my colleague in the eighth said, that this will be a hand up and not a hand out. This is very important that we get this done. I also understand that others are watching this, other people who are making a decision as to whether or not to give you the rest of this money so that this 5-year program can help Flint mothers. And so we do need to show that your city is in support of this so that you can get to the 55 million so that the mothers can get the 5-year support.
Anyone else like to speak?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Thank you. Dr. Mona, you talked about, uncommitted, funders. How much funding is, waiting for our approval?
It's unclear, but there are national funders who are waiting for the city to commit before they commit their dollars, and it is in the tune of millions.
I mean, usually when somebody gonna give you some money, they send you a letter and at least tell you, I got 50,000 or 2 million, waiting contingency on the city of Flint. So I'm not, that don't sound right, that you don't know how
It
much
is,
money.
well, because they haven't committed yet, but
I'm
it
just
is.
saying, I'm just saying, let's be clear, because we're talking money. So if somebody are committing themselves to give you some funding, how you just generalize and, okay, we're gonna give you some money, but you don't know how much money they give it. Like, okay, did my foundation say we're gonna give you $2 million, and they sent you a letter that said we're gonna give you $2 million in contingency on the city of Flint? For instance, they gave $10 million to Birchland Fieldhouse, contingency on the city of Flint giving $1.5 million. So you mean to tell me that these people who are out there in Never Land is gonna give you some money, contingency
Yes.
on if we give you $1 million and you don't know how much money?
Yes, they're waiting to see if Flint commits until.
Do you have a letter?
No, it hasn't been committed yet. They're waiting for you to act first. A lot of our grants were contingent. The Mott Foundation gave us $15 million, but only if we were able to raise another $15 million. We did. We got an extra $15 million, so that unlocked those dollars. So this is also like a match. They are waiting for the city to be part of the city's program until they commit.
Did they send you a letter telling you this?
No, it hasn't been finalized. It's not a finalized grant. I get letters when grants are finalized.
How do you know that they committed
They
to
haven't
give you
committed.
some funding that they didn't give you nothing right?
They haven't committed yet. They're waiting on the city to commit.
That just don't sound right. All right, thank you.
If anyone else would like to speak on this motion? All right, seeing that, there's no one to speak, I'll be the last to speak. Again, council, you know, we're first string. We can allocate this money. And the fact that this $1 million is bringing in $55 million. I heard my colleague mention, well, we already got 41 committed. The fact is the 1 million is being turned into 55 million. It may be left with, I think, 16 million, mapping our neighbors. But
Point of order. I cannot hear.
absolutely, if please, audience, we are asking for the audience to have the calm. Let's lower our voices, please. So with that being said, this is an opportunity for us to take a little bit, turn it to a lot, put it in the hands of some women in this community that can be here, that can use their hands. Totally for it. I don't see a reason to be against it. I heard my colleague mention, well, they can even go buy alcohol. Well, you know the benefit of it? The benefit of that local store that they buy here from. But being a mother and knowing how much diapers cost, knowing how
Just
much.
information.
What is your request?
Do you realize I don't want you to get out of hand and misquote what I was really trying to ask or say? Do you understand that?
So that is an improper request for information, and that will warrant a warning. However, the chair did not give him a warning. The chair is making a statement. The chair is saying that when you abuse a privileged motion, like Mr. Mays did, that could be a warning. So as I proceed,
Point of order.
what is your point?
Madam Chair, according to the rules, then you should have received a warning when he was talking, and Ms. Worthing should have received a warning also. You're not applying the rules fair.
As I said, we cannot use the floor. What is your point?
If you proceed, I'm going to appeal your ruling that it was an improper request for information. You did a request for information when I was talking. And so you need to quit doing that because it's derogatory and it causes problems. You can do a request for information to me and we can do it. Quit doing that. So I would say, let me finish my point. Drop all of that type of stuff. Continue to move on. Don't let them be, don't say it, because if you do, I'm going to feel it and we're going to get caught up. So just ignore it sometimes. Quit doing that, or do it to yourself, or do it to Ms. Worthing, but quit doing it to my reputation.
My time is being wasted by people bombarding me when I'm speaking. As I was stating, you cannot abuse points of information, points of order and request for information like we just witnessed. So the chair did not rule. There's nothing to rule, Mr. Mayor. There's nothing to appeal.
Point of order.
What is your point?
You keep ruling that it was improper and it's taking the floor. And that's a decision you make and you articulate that I can appeal any decision of the chair. It don't just have to be a warning. We've got to appeal any decision to keep you from doing that.
Mr. Mayor, I'm utilizing my point of order denied, and again, I'm utilizing my freedom of speech.
I appeal the ruling of the chair.
Anyone second the appeal of the ruling of the chair didn't rule?
You deny it. Listen to y'all don't get that set
Point denied. So as we move forward, so this is so obvious. When I get the floor, I'm interrupted consistently. This is so obvious. So as I proceed, I forgot my thoughts. But I'm going to proceed anyway. So we are talking about sending this back to finance. It looks like the votes are not here. And it looks like sending it to finance will be the only option. But I don't want to send this back to finance at all. I want to pass this on to council so we can stop kicking the can down the road. The fact that mothers are dependent on this, and this order in the chambers.
Give us the warning.
So, I hope this is apparent, and we see when I share what happens, I hope this is very apparent. And so, mothers are depending on this money. Mothers are looking forward to the assistance. And I don't want to be an impediment to them getting the ball rolling and getting their projected amount budgeted and allocated for it. I'm for it, because I'm for Flint. So thank you, Dr. Mona. All right, so with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and vote. And the motion on the floor is to table resolution 230-281.1 to finance. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
No. Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Ms. Worthing?
No.
Mr. Mays?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
No.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes, 3 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 3 no. Resolution 230-281.1 has been sent back to the Finance Committee.
Yes.
Next, we have resolution 230-328.
Madam Chair.
Mr. May.
Yeah, Madam Chair, resolution 230-328 is a resolution to suspend the Dale Lewis for charter violations and rules violations for a period of
6 months.
90 days. And I move that the council so move.
All right, so is there support?
Madam Chair, I support that.
Supported by Ms. Winfrey Carter. Any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Mr. May.
Madam Chair, it was easy, in my opinion, for you, Mr. Murphy, Ms. Priestley, I think Mr. Piper, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Piper, and Ms. Worthy, to suspend me for 30 days from my elected seat. I think y'all did that with ease. Now, this is a resolution for 90 days, because I'm thinking the taking of money and trinkets and bribes is worse than me using a cuss word in the council meeting. I looked at the news today, it's a guy, I don't know if y'all in New York or New Jersey, but his name was Mendez or something. They found gold bars and money, Mercedes-Benz or something. And I'm like, I've been on the council for close to 10 years. If I knew that you could talk to Ashley Capital and get lawnmowers, Pastor Reed, I ain't gonna lie to you, if you a preacher, a pastor, I would have went for a 2024 Cadillac, and they would probably requested the color be black, and Pastor Harris, I might have got a red one too. We know in the charter that it tells us we can't do that. See, I don't worry about what the FBI or law enforcement say. We have a duty to enforce the charter, Pastor Grilltail. Well, when you spoke during public speaking, Pastor Grilltail, you spoke about the ombudsperson.
Yes.
The ombudsperson and the ethics committee can only make recommendations to us. They can recommend the suspension. They can recommend the removal, but the buck stops here. Whether it's the mayor, whether it's council members, the charter gives us the right to not just suspend people, but to remove people. I've told them over and over, but they don't listen to me. I've told them, you have to put rules in place, but they done went buck wild. They passed a motion with ease to remove an elected council person from the first ward for 30 days. So this resolution started at 6 months, and guess what Ms. Priestley said? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, Ms. Priestley, correct me if I'm wrong. You said, I'm glad that you teaching me, Councilman Mays, that we can remove folks for 6 months. Like you want to remove me for 6 months is what I took from it. I could be wrong. But you said it.
Amen.
No, y'all teaching and I ain't never seen nobody do it but y'all. Because you're doing it under the direction of Attorney Kim. Attorney Kim is a big problem for y'all. He told you you can deliberate outside a council meeting, you can go look at a video when Perkins Rhoda was here, and Janelle and everybody quit listening to me as the chair was like a mutiny. It was just roll. People got up and left their seats and went in the back and talked to Attorney Kim and came back in a group. I had adjourned the meeting for lack of a quorum. And ever since then, lack of a quorum didn't count. But it didn't count that night. Y'all been rolled and voting repeatedly contrary to the rules. Discriminatory. I don't know if it's racist, but it's sure been irritant basis.
That's right.
But some of it done had some racist stuff. Pastor Harris, I know people that ask me, do you regret calling folk handkerchief head Negro? No, because when you look in the Urban Dictionary, it refers to Clarence Thomas. And the definition is black folks who don't care so much about blacks, but they're trying to do things to satisfy whites.
And that's what's up on the minds.
You gotta look at it. So I'm gonna vote to suspend y'all for 90 days. If it don't pass, I'm coming back with 30. But don't that happen, I'm gonna see different treatment.
All right. Anyone else in the first round?
As it speaks to the charter, which we have talked and we had open discussions to be transparent, there is a problem. We look at the monies that were given, they were not disclosed. So it was not disclosed that Liddell Lewis and Quincy Murphy received funds from Ashley Capital. Section 1 under 1-602, which is our ethics, it speaks to it. And then it speaks to 8C, it says which it states a gift received from a public servant's relative or immediate family member provided by a relative or immediate family is not acting on a third party's intermediary or an agent in an attempt to circumvent. But what we did not discuss our charter, I don't know if we have to go back to correct that, using a nonprofit. Because it was not disclosed that Councilman Lewis nonprofit Sarvis Park, which was originated in August of 2021, that was her nonprofit. That was not, you did not share that with us. You never disclosed that. And so, also, when we look at section of the Flint City Charter 9A, to solicit or accept a loan payment from an individual who is providing service to, or receiving tax abatements, credits, or exemptions from the city of Flint. Ashley Capital did ask the city of Flint for a $72 million tax exemption or abatement, and it wasn't disclosed. So it looks as if we weren't operating with clean hands. So that part is a problem. Because when we come up here, and we did get a legal opinion afterwards, but we didn't get it beforehand. I am not in agreement with the legal opinion because it seems that you're able to circumvent the city charter. And it sets a very dangerous precedent, as we discussed last week, that any of us, if we open up our own or get our own nonprofit, we can circumvent the Flint City Charter and do business with everybody on the agenda. We could do a complete towing through Weinstein Electric, whoever else is on there, because it is setting a precedence that if we go through a nonprofit, don't disclose it. And it also say it doesn't have to be disclosed, that there is no punishment. And so guess what happens? It opens up the doors that companies will be buying your votes or our votes. So it's very clear apologetic. Because when Councilman Pfeiffer asked, we were over at the Genesee County Dome, he said, I will vote yes if both of you don't vote. And you doubled down and still voted. You still, but I see over, Okay, well, Councilman Murphy took another $4,750 that gifts were dropped off at the counseling office for 45 families. You gotta disclose that. You're doing business with Ashley Capital, and they're funding you for your special projects. And you're funding them, it looks like, for their special project in the tune of $72 million. So it's not, if this opinion was asked beforehand, I would hope you would have done it. The legal opinion was given after, but you've taken it. So you're not operating with clean hands. I don't think it was an apology to my colleagues, or I apologize to my colleagues for not letting you know. I found out in the church because they thought I wanted money. Nope. Don't want no money because I know how that gets. You don't take the money. Spivey in Detroit went to prison, and they called it bribes. Clarence Thomas, as he's jetting around everywhere, went back to redo his financial statements because he's hanging around his billionaire friends. Nice vacations, donations, you can't do that. He's Supreme Court Justice. You're making decisions with the city, and you don't have clean hands. And then you did not refrain from voting. And if I was going to break anything from not voting because of my stance on ARPA, I would not have let that fail. I would have stepped outside of my box to support Ashley Capital so it didn't fail. And you didn't know that. Y'all have these private conversations. Y'all need to stop. You're not operating with clean hands.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Like the previous one, I will be supporting this one as well. As Ms. Burns stated, that I offered the opportunity to support it so that we wouldn't have a tainted vote. And it's, to me, you are not operating with clean hands because you're using your nonprofit, and I'm going to use air quotes, nonprofit, to prop up your council seat. Everything you put out, you use the nonprofit logo. So how is that not a conflict? And now Ashley Capital is supporting your nonprofit, which is supporting your council activities. That's a conflict in no way around it. And then I see that your nonprofit put out the news, the Mid-Michigan Now hit piece about the press conference. So how is it that the nonprofit needs to get into a political situation on a hit piece on another council person? How is that within the boundaries of the nonprofit? That's why those lines are so blurred, if not even missing.
What hit piece are you referring to?
Those lines between you and your nonprofit are non-existent, and you are using that nonprofit to shell donations, to hide from the community, plain and simple. You know, it's funny. Back in 2019, bear with me for 1 second.
Take your time.
Oh, I got 3 minutes. I'm good. Let me find it because there's so many of them. I apologize. Let me correct myself. In 2018, you retweeted a quote from Kamala Harris that says, she's stating that yesterday I announced I would no longer accept contribution from corporate PACs. We don't have to accept a system that drowns out the voices of the American people. We can do better. And your comment to Kamala Harris was big business shouldn't produce political puppets. Isn't that a contradiction of what you just did? You literally took a political donation from big business right before you voted. How is that not just irony at its finest? Thank you.
Neither Ms. Lewis nor Mr. Murphy directly received funds for their campaign from Match the Capital, but Mr. Mays did. So I'm unclear why they have a resolution against them while Mr. Mays.
They didn't disclose it.
But they did not, it wasn't campaign donations. So they did not have to do that.
Excuse me, the audience should not be speaking to council. The audience should not be yelling out. If so, pardon? So, what needs to happen is, we need to have order in the audience.
And in front of the council.
And Ms. Muhammad, please.
She shouldn't be hollering at people.
Ms. Muhammad, please.
Ms. Lewis, stop.
Ms. Muhammad, that's your
Ms. Lewis, you should
order.
resign. You
Point of
incompetent.
order.
So,
You're
Point of
incompetent.
order.
You're incompetent. Resign.
Call out residents' names.
Resign.
That's wrong. That's wrong. You just do whatever the hell you think you need to do, and it's wrong. Give me a word. Oh, but I appeal on you. In fact, I'm gonna make a motion that we sit you down from chairing this meeting and the next meeting. Now ask for myself.
please hold as
I made a motion.
stand at ease, so the presiding officer can make sure that I have everything correct.
Hey, she was acting up while you was out gone.
So, Mr. Mays, we're standing at ease, please hold.
Oh, look out, she went there.
Request for information. What is the standing at ease? What are you referring to?
Taking, according to Robert rules, is when you take a pause. You don't take a recess, but a pause to get things in order.
You said with Councilman Mays, was that referring to him? I'm unclear what you said.
Madam Chair, all you need to do is ask for a
Again, I understand what all I need to do, so listen, what's happening is, I'm getting things together, I wanna make sure that we are in order, so we can proceed. According to Robert Rule of Order, you use the term stand at ease, and that just puts a brief hold. It's not a recess, but it's a brief hold,
Point
so
of
the
order.
chair can get, what is your point?
Madam Chair, I made a motion. The next thing for you to do is ask for a second to my motion.
Okay. All right, so right now, there has been an appealing of the ruling of the chair by Ms. Winfrey Carter. Is there a second?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Burns?
I second it.
Her name has been seconded by Ms. Burns. And this is for ruling Ms. Winfrey Carter out of order for yelling at the chair. And proceed.
And Madam Chair, point of order, Madam Chair.
What is your point?
You need to ask for a second for my motion. I made a motion.
Madam Clerk,
Point of order.
what is your point?
Madam Chair, Councilwoman Ricardo did put a motion on the floor first, and then there was, so you did not ask for a second. You skipped over that. And so when she puts that on, it's required for the chair to ask, is there a second?
Point of order.
No. No, go
Yes,
ahead.
She actually appealed your ruling for warnings, and she was screaming at you, then she made a motion to remove you as chair.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, just want to go to you to verify the records. So Ms. Winfrey Carter, she received a warning, and then she put a motion on the floor to remove me for chairing the rest of the meeting. Is that what you received?
What I heard is what Ricardo said, when you gave her warning, she was going to appeal. She said, but as a matter of fact, she's going to make a motion instead to remove you as the chair for this meeting and the next one.
Okay, so the removal from the chair came after the appeal, correct?
She never really said she was going to make the appeal, but then she changed her mind to just make a motion to remove you as the chair for this meeting and the next meeting.
Okay, so you got that the appeal for the warning has been dropped, and we're going to the motion to remove it. Is that what we are?
She said she should appeal, but the only one I heard make a motion to remove.
Please say it again to the microphone.
She was going to do the appeal, but I didn't hear her say that I'm making this appeal. What I did hear her say was that she's making a motion to remove you as the chair for this meeting and the next meeting.
Okay, and please hold. And so was that seconded by Ms. Burns?
Right.
Okay. So, going back here, so Ms. Burns, what did you second?
Madam Chair, for the record, because you're incapable of keeping the record, I second both.
All right.
How about that?
And again, this is where the quorum comes into place. When colleagues state what you're incapable of, this is a hostile working environment. So first, what I heard was the warning. I didn't hear her retract the warning. So she said that she seconded both. So we're going to go ahead with the seconding of both with Ms. Burns. So first, we will go with the warning, and then secondly, we go with the removal of me for chair for special event, I'm going to be clear, you said
For special affairs as well as the council meeting.
Oh.
Because we'll be in here all night.
Got it. Removal of chair from special affairs and council. All right, so now we go straight to the warning first. So, all right. So go ahead, Ms. Ricardo, you have been warned for yelling at the chair and being out of order. So go ahead.
You know what? It's a shame that the residents come here to be engaged in this process, and you treat them like they second-class citizens. It's a shame. You keep giving residents warnings, and with Sister Muhammad, you're going to actually call out her name. You didn't need to call out her name. And really, all you needed to do was say, over here in this section, please calm down. Audience, please calm down so we can hear. you're hearing the little comments here and there, and you never stop on Councilwoman Worthing. You never stop her.
Never. Put us out.
But yet you want to put the residents out. This chamber belongs to the residents. You can't control them. And yeah, I got upset, and I'm going to continue to get upset because I'm going to stand with the residents.
We're gonna stand with you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I wasn't even in the room. So I can't be blamed for this, but I've been blamed for a whole lot of stuff wrong. And that's okay, I got thick skin, I'm in politics, I'm used to it. But I've already listened to what's going on. I'm gonna show you an example of what happened when I did come in the room. And I want folks who ain't really been here watching to hear what I'm going to say. I wasn't in the room, and heck broke loose.
See?
Or something. But when I came back in the room, the highest privilege motion under council rules, the highest privilege motion under Robert's rules is point of order. When you say point of order, all talking should cease, and the chair should say, what's your point? That didn't happen. She said, we in a pause. And then she did 3, 4 other people, and they ain't come back to me yet. Did y'all notice that?
Yes.
My point of order was to see what was going on. I'm the senior council person. Been here for 10 years, and the chair treats me like a peon and talks awful rude. Not just to me, but that's why I come up with the term irregmasis. Discrimination and different treatment has no place on this council. It has no place in our society. Don't discriminate against me in favor of Ms. Worthy.
That's right.
Repeatedly. That's why I use the term handkerchief head. Look it up.
Okay.
It ain't a bad cuss word. It's what it is. And so I see it in every meeting. Been seeing it for 4, 5, 6 months. And then people condone that. That's why we're looking at you close, Ms. Brissette. We know Worthing gonna vote lockstep. We've seen Quincy Liddell vote lockstep. I was proud of Mr. Murphy today. He didn't vote lockstep.
That's right.
On a warning to me, and it moved the meeting along. Y'all gotta quit condoning wrongdoing. You gotta quit condoning discriminatory treatment. Because if we don't, as a majority of council, you perpetrate that. We used to say when I was 3rd vice president of NAACP, those who are quiet and say nothing on wrongdoing is just as wrong as the wrongdoing.
That's right.
That's it.
God bless us all.
Anyone else like to speak on this issue?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Worthy?
It is very hard to hear what's going on when we have audience members screaming out, and it's been constant and very loud. And no, you cannot control their behavior because they are adults, but what you can do is give them a warning, and then they must leave if they cannot be quiet. That is the rules. There's nothing funny about it. There's no need to scream, insult others about it. It's just what it is. And if you were being the one screamed at, you would have a problem with it. But it's because it's a political enemy of yours that you defend this atrocious behavior. And let's just call that out. These are political games. People are brought here to these meetings that support Eric Means and others. And they are here to cause chaos, scream at us, harass us because they don't like us trying to get the business done. I'm calling it out. And I'm not afraid.
Excuse me, ma'am. That is the third time I spoke to you. So, and Mr. Mitchell, please. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Request information.
What is your request?
Do you, the Ms. Worthing, do you think people support right or wrong or jury maze? You really believe that I have these people come or they say here talking about right and wrong?
I'm reclaiming my time. So, I don't bring supporters. And again, Ms. Winters Hall just shouted at me again. She's done this frequently. Where are your supporters, she said. I tell them not to come because of people like you who are
Because of Rule 27.2, councilwoman cannot become argumentative with, excuse me, and she's talking while I'm talking. Y'all love these rules so much. She could not become argumentative. She called Mrs. Winters Hall out, and she became argumentative with her. She needs to get a warning.
So Ms. Worthy, according to 27.2, you cannot argue with residents. And residents cannot yell out and speak to So, proceed.
Please stop my time.
Please proceed, Ms. Worthy.
I will when I can.
Got it.
Throughout this meeting, many have said, Warren, Miss Worthing. I've not said anything, but then my colleagues over there have been talking this whole time during the meeting, sighing and saying things, and yet they say, Warren, Miss Worthing. My name comes up a lot for me to just be sitting here trying to just do the work. Again, this is orchestrated. This is a bullying tactic to try to support TikTok crazy. TikTok money. Mr. Mays is making money off of this chaos, and that's disgusting. And he uses audience members to come in so that he can earn more money on TikTok. Meanwhile,
order in the chambers. Order in these chambers. If we can't have order in the chambers, then we will continue to ask order members to leave. If you want to remain in this meeting as a spectator, we demand order in these chambers.
what a sad day that Flint is known for its chaos, dysfunction, hatred.
There she goes.
Metcalf, could you please come to this side of the audience so we can have order in the chambers?
Hey man, y'all need to get up.
Mr. Wilson is encouraging them to break quorum. Please do not yell out, Mr. Wilson.
Order again. Madam Chair.
What?
The quorum, first of all, you're breaking Rule 27.2. You cannot become argumentative with the audience. You just said Mr. Woodson told them to break quorum. You are being argumentative. Give yourself a warning. Excuse me? Warn yourself. You have a dumpster fire again. This is on you.
Again, back to you, Ms. Worthing. Please proceed, 32 seconds.
Thank you. I'm saddened that this is what the city has been reduced to, chaos, dysfunction, and it's purposeful. My colleague cannot speak her mind because people are shouting at her constantly. And they're trying to make her look like a bad chair, because they don't like that she will keep the meeting in order. And again, Eric Mays is making money off of you in this city by purposely creating chaos. That's disgusting.
So, anyone else want Mr. Murphy?
Thank you. This ridiculous, though, for real. Your tone of voice, Councilman, Winfrey Carter, it ain't what you say, it's how you say it. And even, I'm sitting here listening to the audience, the young man in the gray on the front row. I never, ever hear him. I hear the young lady in the front, and I also hear the young man in the front all the time. And I know if I hear them, you guys hear them. And when we conducting ourselves in a meeting, it is not appropriate for the audience. I even hear people on this side. If you up here, you're saying things that they don't agree with, they in the audience, and our chairperson is only trying to keep control of the council meeting. And I don't understand how y'all have a problem with the chair trying to keep some order. If I hear, I know the chairperson here, and sometimes the chair people, I be like, dang, did y'all hear you chair? So you gotta conduct yourself. So how can you sit up here and chair a meeting, and then you constantly hearing people in the front saying things? Because I hear y'all. Whether y'all think we don't hear y'all, we do. I know we hear y'all. I hear them over there. And we just constantly hear them while we up here trying to conduct meetings. But it's okay for them to sit up there and be making comments in the audience, and we supposed to be okay with that. No, if whoever the chair, whether she be the chair tonight or don't be the chair, whoever chair these meetings got to have control of these meetings. Other than that, we gonna still be sitting here. We ain't even in city council meeting yet, because we sitting up here dealing with these petty situations that we're dealing with now, because y'all don't want the chairperson to check the audience when they out there talking and get the blur out. It don't work like that. And then when she trying to check the audience, you trying to check her, and then you raising your voice so loud. It ain't what you say, it's how you say it, and you don't have to talk so loud when you making your point across. That's what I'm saying.
Point of information. Request for information. So Councilman Murphy, what are you doing right now? Your voice is loud.
Thank you very much. So here we are, it's going on 9 o'clock, we still in special affairs. City council meeting should have started at 5:30. We ain't even started a city council meeting yet, because we here. I'll be supporting the chair.
Anyone else would like to speak?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Burns?
according to Rule 27.2, during any portion of any meeting, council members may not engage with any type of argumentative discourse with members of the audience at any time for any reason. You failed to warn yourself, you failed to warn Ms. Worthy, both of you should receive a warning. You're not an effective chair. We've been here over 4.5 hours. You're rude, you're mean, you're disrespectful, and you are. You make little moves with your eyes and things. Your colleagues don't respect you because you took money from Action Capital. I don't. That is very real to me. You're not ethical. And of course, Councilman Murphy wouldn't have any problems with what you talking to the audience or you making, whatever you do, because he had no problem both you and him taking money from Action Capital. So therefore, there won't be a problem. So when we talk about you want to go off on the audience, you threw out every time. You choose to weaponize the police against the residents. You do it every meeting. That's what you do. And I'm going to urge you and advise you to not keep going after Ariel. He is protected by the American with Disabilities Act, and you need to understand that. You have to provide him with special accommodation. You want to go after every single body. You can't do that. Then when you get that flustered, take that 5-minute recess. Ask Judy or Dennis or one of these chairs who can take over if you become overwhelmed. But what you have shown, which is consistent in how you chair, you can't chair. You can't chair.
It doesn't matter what Eva Worthing says. You're going to let her just go with her. She should have got a warning. You should have warned yourself, and you're okay with it. I never seen anything like it. But then you want to say these Robert rules, I have to enforce the rules. Start enforcing them when you say it's hypocritical. So yes, Councilwoman Ricardo's going to get upset. Because week after week, every meeting you chair, you're throwing out the residents. And you have them, and they're your residents. You throw Audrey Muhammad, she's in your ward. You throw Mrs. Mayfield, she's in your ward. And sleeping in her pond. You're not returning her calls. So when we talk about not having the chair, you don't need the chair because it's going to be a dumpster fight. And for the record, that is not time to burn sign. When Candace is done, she signed. That's not me. When you hear the sign, when you stated people are signed. I mean, when we talk about what's happening up here, so much going on here, it's just ridiculous. I want to have a meeting. Y'all worry about time, but the same thing that you say that you warn us for, you break that rule yourself. Every single time you break that rule. Every time. You need to remove this chair, period. And I hope my colleagues, when it comes to time, they don't vote for me so we can get out of here.
Anyone else would like to speak in?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Parker.
I hope the pastors that did the press conference realize what we're dealing with here. And I love how my colleague in the 9th Ward is so innocent. If you innocent, Jeffrey Dahmer was a vegetarian. Talking about discourse, you literally got into it with the young lady in the first row. What are you looking at?
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. Thank you.
We want to point out talk that we disagree with, or we don't disagree with, but someone you agree with, you have to put the earplug in. And for the record, chairing is one of the most stressful but greatest opportunities we have as a city to move the city forward. The record will show every meeting that I have chaired, I've never thrown an audience member out. I've removed one person from the meeting for argumentative discourse, and that was a council person in the 9th Ward. I've never given the person in the 1st Ward a warning, the second Ward a warning. I've never given any of those folks a warning. Because it's all about sharing and being able to talk to folks and have argumentative discourse without interruption and absolute chaos.
Here we go.
What is your request for information?
My question for the councilman in the 8th Ward is insulting your colleagues and telling them that they're going to be at National Cheeseburger Day at McDonald's, is that?
That's an invalid request for information. For our point of order, and please stop this time.
You giving everybody else one?
Madam Chair, National Cheeseburger Day is not valid. It is not germane. And you have got to warn her. That is a warning.
Ms. Burton, she asked Mr. Fife
Man, come
a
on.
question.
Man, that's the question earlier.
So, Mr. Pfeiffer, he can either answer or he can proceed.
I appeal the ruling of the chair, not to warn her. This is how you nip it in the bud. I appeal the ruling of the chair, the decision, I'm appealing of her not to consistently warn Ms. Worthing, so I appeal your decision.
All right, so it is an appeal. How meeting takes this back. Appeal ruling of the chair. morning. Okay. All right, so, going back to, excuse me, is there a second?
Madam Chair, I second that.
All right. Second by Ms. Jones. All right, so go back to the first appeal from Mrs. Carter, Winfrey Carter's morning. Mr. Pfeiffer, you can speak.
I said what I said, about this appeal. We want to hold the audience to a different standard, but we have a set of rules in front of us. They don't. There was no reading of disorderly person subsection before this meeting. The rules aren't posted back there. Some folks may know our rules, some folks may not. We're holding everybody up to a higher standard, but we're not giving them the tools to succeed. So until we post the rules back there that we're expecting them to, that holding them up to our standard, then I don't understand how we can continue to throw out our tax-paying citizens that pay our council salary and voted us in. That, to me, is a derelict of duty on our part, and I will stand for it.
All right, anyone else in the first round and the only round of Winfrey Carter's appeal?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Michelle.
So, what's been asked in this meeting several times is that the audience refrain from yelling. It's been asked several times. I say this with the understanding that emotions are heightened and passions are running. I feel like with Ms. Winfrey Carter, that is what happened. She was upset, her emotions were running high. I do agree with Mr. Murphy. It was the way you said how you were yelling and all that, how you got loud. I do agree with that. But then I also agree with the fact that it's got to go both ways. The audience has been asked several times to refrain from yelling out. This is a professional meeting. We have to, see? You say don't put you out, but then you do this. The reality is that we have to be professional. We have to act with some decorum. You go and watch city council meetings from all over the country. There are rules. There are rules for how the council must behave. There are rules for how the audience must behave. Disorderly conduct is a thing. You're yelling out right now. As I'm sitting here trying to defend your right to be impassioned, but at the same time, it's hard to defend if it keeps happening. I get it. Y'all are upset. There are things up here happening that you do not agree with. After this meeting, we have a regular council meeting where you have another opportunity to come to that podium and let it rip once again. And I am all for your right to do that. But during these meetings, and the honest truth is there have been a lot of times where y'all have been yelling out and nothing was said. Nothing was said. Like, at the end of the day, the reality is everybody has to conduct themselves better, audience included. And I get exactly where Ms. Winfrey Carter was coming from in the sense that she's upset that she feels like the residents were not being heard, or she felt like the rules were not being firmly applied to everybody. The rules do have to be firmly applied to everybody. The rules do have to be firmly applied to everybody. The rules do have to be firmly applied to everybody. This warning could have been dropped and we could have moved on. The rules do have to firmly apply to everybody. The rules do have to firmly apply to everybody.
So we have a request for information.
Yes, sir.
I was just gonna say, can you say that one more time?
I was going to say it one more time anyway because it's back at the audience. The rules do have to be firmly applied to everybody. So this is one of those situations where we split the baby. Audience, please respect what's going on up here. Please refrain from yelling out as much as possible. I get it. After this meeting, though, you have another opportunity, another council meeting to go ahead and let it rip. Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Thank you.
I get it.
Anyone else would like to speak? All right, so seeing that there is no one else, I'll go ahead and speak. Our council, our charter sticks to, you must have the quorum. Called on Ms. Winfrey Carter, she began to yell at me, and she knew that she was yelling. She told me to give her a warning. I did exactly as she instructed. I gave her a warning. And then she appealed the ruling of the chair. I'm not harping on anyone. I don't want to see anyone ejected. But what we need to see we need to see people following the rules. And one thing that we do know, just like kids know in school, you do not yell out unless your teacher calls on you or unless you're doing an activity that requires everyone to yell out. Ms. Michelle, she said it very succinctly. This is a professional body. Regardless of contrary belief, this is a professional body, and we must conduct ourselves likewise. And for those that come to participate with this professional body, you must be held to the same standard. I didn't kick the lady out because my resident out for no reason. What I did was I brought her to order. She refused to get an order. She began to argue and yell at me. You all, this is identity politics. Whatever this chair does, I get attacked. The fact that this chair is upholding the rules, I'm getting attacked. We have to make sure that we are in order. Anything else is uncivilized. So for the audience, I warned the audience several times. And I also stated that according to our rules, it says that if the council member, you're not recognized according to Rule 28.1, you cannot speak aloud. That means you're causing a disturbance. If you cause a disturbance, you're being disorderly. According to the disorderly person subsection, you are audience members as well as council members. If you receive one warning for being disorderly. The second time, you are brought to order for being disorderly. That is removal, and that is under our city code subsection. So no one is removed from this meeting without receiving their second warning. Council member and audience members alike.
Request for information.
What is your request?
But isn't our beef that you're not applying it equally among council members and the audience see that? Do you understand me saying you ain't doing an equal application of that?
That's an improper The points of order and request for information, they are used to find out information that you don't know otherwise. It's improper. So, with that being said, it is very unfortunate that we are here. And I hope everyone is witnessing what is happening. So, with this being said, a yes vote will overturn the ruling of the chair. A no vote will uphold the ruling of the chair. In giving Ms. Winfrey Carter her requested warning. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
Yes.
No.
Ms. May?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
No.
Mr. Murphy?
No.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds? Yes. Ms. Michelle?
Yes.
There is a voucher.
Vote is 5 yes, 3 no.
The vote is 5 yes, 3 no. The ruling of the chair is overturned. So next,
Good evening. Come back 6 months.
we are on the motion to remove me from chair of special affairs and from council meetings. And so, at the second by, yes.
We had another appeal.
Yep, you are right, you are right. It was an appeal. It was an appeal, of the ruling of the chair for not warning Ms. Worthy. Okay? All right, so there's been an appeal, ruling of the chair for not warning Ms. Worthy, and seconded by Ms. Burns. So go ahead.
Yeah, Madam Chair, sometimes you have to take time. Some people might call it a waste of time when we do these appeals, but the only way to educate the community and ourselves is to do these appeals. And so for months and months, you know, we've been saying, you gotta warn Ms. Worthy just as you warned me. You gotta rule that Ms. Worthy's points of orders and points of information are out of order, just like you said mine are. Because I really don't believe they do be out of order, more so than hers. And it's a pattern. It's a pattern. And it ain't a cuss word. You got to really know the urban meaning in 2023 and why Clarence Thomas' name comes up. When you say handkerchief, Ms. Worthy. Now, Ms. Worthy can shake her hand, but you plan to her for favor, for votes. And I almost said, Mr. Piper, you, in my opinion, had been voting wrong with her, just as Candace Michelle had, but she voted right on this one. And people got the right to vote right and wrong. But when your eyes open up and you really look at what's going on, there's got to be an equal application of the rules. You can't keep throwing black folks out and let white folks get away with murder. You can't throw white folks out and let black folks get away with murder. It ain't about black and white, it's about wrong and right. You gotta do an equal application of the rules. Don't you throw this council off balance and you rile up the public. Madam Chair, if you wrong, you gotta admit I'm out of order. I'm not recognizing points of order. You've done that tonight. That's out of order. You should have your first warning. Do you get out of order intentionally or unintentionally? But it's clear, I said point of order, you haven't came back to me yet. You get frustrated. It's difficult to check. But y'all wanted these in your first year. You wanted to throw me out and share and talk about me. Now you know it's different. This ain't a on-the-job training. This is real counsel. Multi-million-dollar business. Discriminatory action. Me, Wynn, Ricardo, others, we ain't gonna put up with it. We've been in the civil rights movement. I know we ain't gonna turn our back on a fight here for equality.
All right, anyone else would like to speak in the first round?
Madam Chair?
Go ahead, Mr. Piper.
Yep. I think the councilwoman in the 7th ward stated correctly that they have to be, the rules have to be applied equally. And your constant and insistent refusal to warn colleague in the 9th ward is ridiculously obvious. And that's the problem, and that's what riles up the audience. That's the double standard that everyone is seeing. When you have rules, you can't, I mean, you want to throw Mr. Mays out before we got the public speaking together for doing a request for information. But when the colleague in the 9th ward does it, you might give her after you get called out, you give her that's improper, but you hand out warnings to everybody else, but I don't think you've ever given her a warning. So when we talk about the double standard and the way that you chair, it's obvious that you only target certain people's or certain members of council. and, you know, maybe I was blind to that in the past, but maybe the illegal contribution, maybe a way. So, and this is why there's a motion after this to remove you from chair, because you want to pick and choose who you want to apply the rules to. And that's not the way it should go. If I'm out of order, I should be called to order. I should be given a warning, the same as any other of my colleagues. For the most part, I vote on decorum issues the way that I feel the decorum issue was violated. And right now, it's hard to hold members accountable for decorum when one of the biggest violators is the chair. So I will be voting against the chair, and hopefully we have enough colleagues that we can finally give a warning to the member of the planning board for misconduct. Thank you.
Anyone else would like to speak on the show?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Worthing?
It's really funny that Mr. Pfeiffer said misconduct when he called you a name at the last meeting. Never did apologize.
Point of request for information. Request for information, Madam Chair.
What is your request?
Do you realize you called me a name? You called me ghetto. Did you apologize for that? Whether you said ghetto or is she acting ghetto, you didn't apologize.
Well, and you didn't apologize for that. And you said, I'll turn this out. So I'm still waiting. It's really funny that Mr. Pfeiffer, he really likes to look like he is so professional, and yet he's been on social media insulting all of his colleagues.
What relevance does any of that have to pertain to this appeal?
Probably the same, Mr. Pfeiffer. Again, here we are with Stan Germain. And let's just call this where we are, just so we can go forward with some clarity. The same relevance that has is the same relevance you're talking about me taking illegal campaign funds. So you gotta be fair. So let her proceed to speak. So your point of order, I'm going to deny it, because if that's the case, you were out of order too, as well as other colleagues for saying that. And honestly, that's against proper rules. You don't supposed to vote back. You don't supposed to refer to back agenda items. But nevertheless, the point is, you said, what does that have to do with this motion? The same thing it had to do with it when you brought it up.
Point of order.
What's your point?
Isn't this an appeal, and the previous appeal was made during the resolution to suspend you for taking funds?
We're talking about the appeal for Jerry Carter, and that's when you made the comment. So, point of order denied, back to Ms. Worthing.
Thank you. Many like to dish it out, but just can't take it when it comes back to them. It's constant. Not that I'm here to do that, because here we are, getting nothing done. And we heard residents say, this name calling, yelling, not getting things done, it's not productive. And what time is it? 9:30. Okay. We've not even gotten to city council. I don't know how this city is going to move forward. If we cannot just, and they're shouting out again, if we cannot.
Request information.
What is your request?
Madam Chair, they might have said something they was not shouting. Do you realize that, Ms. Worthing, that was not shouting? That's to her, not to you.
Mr. May, that's improper. Let her proceed. Go ahead.
And then there's constant interruptions, but then other people are blamed. maddening. We get nothing done. It's embarrassing. And to have professional people here, like Dr. Mona, that have to put up with this type, it's like embarrassing. I don't know how people can sit here with professionals, sitting here trying to improve this city, trying to help us. And we are here to call names, scream at others. There's not much to defend there. We've not gotten to any business. So, I'm gonna ask this again, what is your purpose on being on this council? Is it for political points? Is it to be famous? Or is it to get the work of the city done? Because I don't see the business getting done. And so if you're part of that, then you're the problem. I want to vote on issues, not people and personalities. I'd like to get through a meeting without screaming. This is beyond any classroom. This would not happen in any school and be tolerated. So let's do better. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Barnes?
Thank you. So this limitless loyalty is ridiculous. You do not apply the rules evenly nor fairly, and that's who you are. And that's why your meetings are so out of control. You're out of control. If the audience or the members of the community saw you being fair, they wouldn't be outraged. Your behavior is outrageous. When people were called the black women on the council ghetto, she called the first ward residents a cult. You actually took to Facebook, and I'm gonna read what you wrote, because these are in your words. You told a lie and said you don't ever do this. You're not a factual person. Flint second ward, and you said this to another person who says racist comments all the time. You deal with racists like the same person who called my daughter a monkey. So y'all got beef with you forever. On that. So Tracy Winthy says, Flint second ward says, Tracy Winthy always then gaslights, makes it a racial issue when it's not. Point is, she continued to break the rules by unlawfully taking the floor, then was pointing towards the word and saying, today isn't going to be your day. Totally out of control. That could be interpreted as a threat. Then Eva stood up, which was out of order, and began going back and forth with Burns. If calling fair game makes me a handkerchief head, I will wear it with pride. Do better. You call yourself a handkerchief head. You keep protecting this woman who was a clear racist. Something is so very wrong with you. So very wrong. You want to try it out here. You saw my daughter's picture that they put her wedding picture. You came to make some silly little comment, but what you did not do was denounce it. If your child was on your scale, even though I don't care for you, I would have defended you. You go back and forth with this crazy lady, and that makes you part of the problem. We get work done when you're not here and you're not here. So everything, we got caught up. We had 18 resolutions down, we removed you from chair. She wasn't here. She is a problem. And you feed off that. You can't detach yourself from it. And it's unfortunate, because you could have had the capability to be a great chair, but you're not. All of your meetings result in a dumpster fire. You can't say I'm a victim and then say I'm a handkerchief head. Which one is it? You said you're proud when you defended her for calling black people ghetto. And she did acknowledge it. And for the record, I never called the press about her calling people ghetto. I don't know if she called them, but I simply don't have that much time.
What are your requests?
You remember when she called me a narcissist?
Well, she called me a narcissistic asshole also in front of the city attorney. So her mouth is foul.
Hold on. So, Mr. Mayor, that request for information, then I told you what you're going to
Point of
So we
order,
can't
Madam
take
Chair.
it for.
Point of order. That was a quick inquiry to Ms. Burns. It had nothing to do with you. Quick ruling on that. Let the meeting flow.
Denied. You have to be in order. Our request for information is within our rules. Please proceed, Ms. Barnes.
Again, you do not apply the rules to Ms. Worthing, you do not apply it to yourself, which makes you a very poor leader and to chair. We can't lead or follow you if you don't know how to lead.
Anyone else would like to speak on this appeal?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Listen, to my colleagues, I'm listening to you guys go back and forth. And I would encourage all of you guys to be posted about each other along Facebook. Y'all is spending a lot of time on, and I'm sitting up here listening to y'all and learning stuff that I didn't know that colleagues done posted about other colleagues on Facebook, and it's just ridiculous. And it's getting out of control, and now it's spilling into city council, and here we are in city council talking about Facebook.
That's it.
What are your requests?
Aside from Facebook, but you've been here for months watching some of this stuff, ain't you?
She ain't gonna say nothing.
Right. Back to what I was saying. All I'm saying is y'all should examine you guys self. And Paul Heron said it good. Is what I'm about to post on Facebook, is this uplifting my colleague or is it tearing them down? And even if y'all see somebody posting about one of y'all colleagues on Facebook, why are y'all even commenting on it? And even if y'all comment or y'all see something, you know, somebody told me about a post that my colleague in the 8th Ward posted, and I said, no, that's not him. That's not his character, that's not his moral, that's just not who we are as a person. I just couldn't see myself. One thing you won't ever see me do, and I have not done since I've been on city council, you do not see me posting on Facebook on things that people say about me because they talk about Jesus so little. And I understand that I'm in a position that people may not always agree. And I look at things when people say or do, when I ran for office, I knew this was coming my way. So if somebody's saying something about me and I don't agree with it, I'm not gonna go on Facebook. And they have a right to not agree with me and to make their post about what I won't do is if you won't see me, if somebody posting about Tanya or Jerry or Liddell or even, I'm not gonna like it. I'm not gonna comment on it. I'm gonna leave it alone because y'all still is my colleagues and we should be like a family and sticking up and supporting one another when we out here in the public. Instead, we sit up here feuding with each other out on Facebook and bringing it back to city council when we still ain't got the business done because we're too busy talking about what somebody posted on Facebook. And we adults, we supposed to be setting an example. This is ridiculous.
Anyone else would like to speak on this appeal?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Madam Chair, I'm just gonna say this. You've got to apply the rules fairly. You've got to apply the rules equally. You've got to apply the rules fairly. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Anyone else? So, seeing that there's no one else, I'll go ahead and be, that's why, the ruling of the chair, saying that the chair did not warn Ms. Worthy. This is what we have here. For one, when Ms. Worthy was speaking, unfortunately, the auditor was speaking as well. And so, again, the onus is on the council members not to be argumentative. At the same time, the onus is on for the audience member to be in order. So you can't yell out, and she can't yell at you. So it shouldn't be going both ways. And so,
Request for information.
go ahead.
Is this an appeal about discourse with the audience, or an improper request for information based on a cheeseburger comment?
No, so this is an appeal of the ruling of the chair for not warning Ms. Worthing.
And it was for not warning her using the privilege motion, right, to do us. It had nothing to do with y'all.
No, I didn't pitch the privilege motion.
I did, but yeah, I appealed because you would warn her when she interrupted with a privilege motion that wasn't on point, like you do us. That's what this appeal was the whole time. Ain't nothing debate over that.
Not a problem, not a problem. So I was under the impression that the ruling of the chair was appealed because she was talking to the audience member. That's where I thought it came from. However, so going back to what the appeal is, that she used an improper request for information. I believe that request for information, and you said I didn't warn her. She asked Mr. Pfeiffer a question. She asked Mr. Pfeiffer a question, and the question was a valid question. Mr. Pfeiffer had the opportunity to either ignore her and keep speaking or answer the question. We begin to get into muddy waters when we start doing requests for information, when you are purposely trying to take the floor. If we read rules 26.1 to 26.4, this is what we're saying. And then it says, using request for information as an opportunity, using a request for information as an opportunity to gain the floor is not allowed. Multiple abuses of request for information is cause for disciplinary action. For one, she asked a question, and for two, that was the one time that she asked Mr. Pfeiffer. So the rules 26.4 says for multiple abuses of request for information is cause for disciplinary action. So therefore, the chair did not give her a warning for doing that, according to these council rules. So with that being said, if you want to
Request
overturn,
for information.
go ahead.
Didn't you warn Mr. Mays for one thing today?
No, Mr. Mays was on utilizing his third point of order. So we have video to show. Please review it at your leisure. But what we're about to do now is vote. And so if you would like to overturn the ruling of the chair, please vote yes. That's fine. But if the chair did nothing wrong, according to Rule 26.4, please vote no. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Worthing.
No.
Mr. Mays.
Yes.
Ms. Lewis.
No.
Mr. Murphy.
I abstain because this is ridiculous.
Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Yes.
Ms. Burns.
Yes.
Ms. Mashat.
No.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
Yes.
I voted 4 yes, 3 no, 1 abstention.
Repeat that, Madam Clerk.
4 yes, 3 no, 1 abstention.
4 yes, 3 no, 1 abstention. The ruling of the chair stands. And so, now we are back to so now we're on to, the motion to remove me from chair. And has been moved properly second. So go ahead and first round.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Mays.
Madam Chair, I don't know if it's gonna be by votes, but what's important, it ain't just removing you as chair of this special affairs. I'm understanding as chair of the council meeting as well. Now here we got 1, 2, only speeches you given and talk about Facebook, but you was dogging me out and been dogging me out, calling me a disgrace. The council ain't taking nothing done. If you gonna be here, I've been here for 10 years. We done went through water crisis, emergency management, budget deficit. That ain't true what you said. You knew. You and Miss Lewis condone each other's activity, tag team, back and right, left and right. So saying it to my face is worse than saying it on Facebook. So be careful being a hypocrite about what people should and shouldn't do with their colleagues, because you can dog me out repeatedly. It's recorded to my face. And then you keep voting, condoning with certain folks. That's why I said handkerchief bill. Now, I don't expect for you to vote to suspend Ms. Lewis from chairing these meetings. We got stuff done. You wasn't here, she wasn't here, Eva Worthy wasn't here. We caught all that work up. Because for 3-4 meetings prior, we was getting bogged down with her trying to throw council people and others out. And somebody said or meant, we gotta deal with the elephant in the room. We dealt with the term the elephant in the room, and we got the work done. And I know y'all heard about it, because y'all wasn't here. Now, it don't matter to me if I have to be in council chambers to 2, 3 in the morning. Pastor Harris, I ain't embarrassed to tell you, but Pastor Mays knew it. We'd be out to 6 in the morning partying. What I care about being up to 2 and 1, 11 to do the business of the city, Pastor Reed, is better than being out partying. Let nobody fool you about the length of meetings. Everything we do is a purpose for the future. When we address these appeals and different treatment, that's a purpose. When we do resolutions and multi-million dollars, that's a purpose. We wouldn't even be sitting in these seats if we didn't stop in our past and our experience to address civil rights and discrimination and different treatment. Don't let nobody fool y'all with that rhetoric, getting stuff done. Equal and fair treatment is part of American history for blacks to get stuff done. So Ms. Lewis, I'm gonna vote to remove you from this meeting and the council meeting again. We can fly through this stuff, but we might not have 5 votes. Ms. Priestley been removed herself from all of these important civil rights discussions.
I'm good.
In my opinion. I mean, I know how to go back and forth. She's sitting back there with the woman trying to recall me. They got important business.
Whoa!
That's that same shirt, Pastor Harris, I seen on TV with you and Chris Martin there, and she's standing in the bunch. They said they really gathered to talk about his use of the term monkey, and Chris Martin talking about houses and Liddell getting stuff towed down, and she's standing with that shirt. You gotta be careful who you roll with. We, the UAW, Democrats strong, they say Biden gonna be here tomorrow, Trump coming, but guess what? She said on the Republican Party executive board. It means something to understand your community and politics. I'm gonna see what we can get done.
Anyone else like to speak in the first round?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Thank you so much. My colleague in the first ward always loved to bring my name up. But one thing I want you to know, 2 things for certain. Councilman Murphy ain't worried about or scared on nothing that you got to think about me, in my opinion. And I ain't never been shy of hiding my feelings on how I feel about how you conduct yourself. I'm not going to be supporting this motion to remove Councilman Woman, Dr. Lewis, because the audience were, just as fault as, Dr. Lewis for trying to keep some order. Did she do everything right? No. Can she stay in room for improvement? Yes. But I'm not.
So, what did I do wrong?
Oh!